The movements involved in pro and recreational sport, all of the exercises that you perform in the gym, and the majority of the daily activities that you perform throughout a day all have one thing in common. They're built from a series of fundamental movement patterns. Learning and practicing these movement patterns is going to be the key to injury prevention and improving your physical performance. In the How to Move series, I'm going to show you how to perform all of these fundamental movement patterns so that you can move your best. Hi guys, welcome back to Stout Sport Performance. I'm Austin Stout, and in today's video we're going to talk about the fundamental movement pattern of pushing. Now in the last video we had talked about pulling and pushing movement patterns being really similar. And in the sense they are because we're taking a really similar set of positions throughout these movements. When we're pushing or pulling in the horizontal direction or in the vertical direction, we're going to look very similar in both pulling and pushing. It would be hard to distinguish which one we're doing if you were able to take away, if you were able to Photoshop out the floor, for example, or Photoshop out the TRX if we're doing some sort of pulling motion. So keep that in mind. When we're training our pushing, we're training our pulling positions, and when we're training our pulling, we're really training our pushing positions. So we're going to use the push-up today to demonstrate pushing mechanics and the fundamental movement pattern of pushing. But if you can't do, for example, 10 to 15 push-ups without being fatigued, I want you to practice this movement pattern against a wall or against a box because we don't want to be practicing it in a fatigued state yet. Learn the movement pattern and then worry about building up your strength and your relative endurance in that movement pattern later. So we're going to start this exercise, start the pushing fundamental movement pattern mechanics here by talking about our hands. And what we want to make sure is that we have some space between our fingers here so we have maximum surface area here with the ground. And the next thing we're going to do is talk about this external rotation here of our arm, just like we performed in our pulling mechanics, so that we can lock that shoulder into a stable position to keep us safe and to also allow for a better flow of energy throughout the body. So once we've done those two things, we've got here the hands on the ground, right underneath the shoulder. We've externally rotated our shoulders, which is going to bring that elbow here towards our body. Now we're going to go through that bracing sequence here from this position. We're going to squeeze our glutes, squeeze our core, and just like in the pulling video, we want to make sure our body's working here as one unit. And the last thing we're going to do before we actually perform a push-up is think about our forearm. We're going to try to keep that nice and vertical throughout the whole pushing movement. Body's working here as one. We remain tense and tight in our core and butt, working to at least about 90 degrees. And again, we're keeping that forearm nice and perpendicular with the ground and pushing at about a 90-degree angle, perpendicular away from the line of our body. That's the fundamental movement pattern of pushing. Thank you guys for watching. And come back next time. Make sure you give a subscription to our channel. And we're going to talk about the fundamental movement pattern of lunging next.